Hello, I am going to be talking about a forbidden subject. The last time I did this, I got what they called a community strike, and they said you get 3 and you're out, cancelled straight away. No questions, no appeals, you're off YouTube forever. And I know I'm taking a risk with this. However, I'm going to do my best to keep the language to a level where I might not cause too much trouble for myself. So let's get on with this. But before I do, I just want to tell you, I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. YouTube tends to be a bit lax about notifying people of my new uploads. So I'm also on Twitter, Gab and Parler, where I am at Granniopteryx. And I always notify you on one of those, well, on all of them, when I put up a new video. You can help my channel, as long as I've got it, by liking, sharing and subscribing. Remember, if again YouTube subscriptions tend to drop off, I've had lots of complaints about that, so check your subscription. But please click that like button, it's supposed to help. Right, and you can help me financially, of course, buy me a coffee or one of the things below. And if I do disappear, you have the other channels, which are BitChute, Rumbles and Minds. All right, so let's get on with this. This is an article in The Guardian. YouTube, I'm being really careful. It's an official article, right? Not making this up, it's right down here. But still, I'm going to avoid keywords. Please bear with me, everyone. Okay, it says here, parents who refuse speak out after court places baby W in care. What the story is this: the child needs an operation. While that operation is going on, it will need certain fluids. And the parents want those fluids not to have in them any remains of something that's been going around recently. And so some of their friends and people of like mind are willing to donate this product for the operation. But New Zealand knows better than that. New Zealand knows that whatever it provides through its health service is going to be just great. I mean, no country has ever made a mistake about this sort of thing. For instance, China never made a mistake about the one-child policy, which has skewed their demographics horrendously. It's never made that mistake, has it? And China never made a mistake about their constant lockdowns either, and their imprisonment of people who've been found positive. No, they haven't made a mistake right up until the time when there's practically revolution in the streets, and then suddenly it's all going. Yeah? But that's in China. It could never happen in New Zealand, could it? So the family of a baby who was being placed in his doctor's care because his parents from people who were, I hope I'm making myself clear, the government have actually taken the child. What did I say? You know, it's funny how these things happen coincidentally. Yesterday I made a video about how left-leaning governments have this tendency to take children from their parents, to assume authority over them. For some reason, people, now I don't know whether it's an actual philosophical projection of socialist philosophies, or whether it's the mind of somebody who thinks socialism is good, also thinks that parents should really have no say in how their children are brought up. I mean, round here, we have a lot of teachers here in the UK who are indoctrinating their children with their usually socialist philosophy. I've never seen an instance of a parent complaining that a teacher is pumping out all sorts of very hard right-wing stuff at children in a class. But I have seen lots of complaints about parents talking about socialist philosophy of various sorts and extreme gender critical stuff going out in classes as well. I mean, that's what libs of TikTok are really all about, isn't it? Anyway, this is what the government says. Back to New Zealand. We've concluded that the government cannot afford anything to go wrong for baby W as the world is watching. Oh yes, the world is watching New Zealand, but perhaps not for the reasons you think. He is likely to get the best possible care with the best, safest, you know what. Of course, as I say, governments never make mistakes and they never do anything wrong. There was a going round. Oh, I'm going to have to take that off because it might cause an alarm bell to go off. I'm sorry, I had to cut. I will cut all of that because it led me into an unfortunate series of words again. But there was a situation in Britain where, you know, we have seasons. I think I could probably say that. And everybody over a certain age gets a seasonal. And it turned out a few years ago they had the wrong. But they gave it anyway because they didn't want people to know that they'd slipped up. Yeah, governments never slip up with these things, do they? Right. And the courts took charge of this child and they got guardianship. You know, in China, they came up with this zero tolerance idea, which had people being confined into camps when they tested positive, or having to take tests every morning before they go to work, with the result that Chinese people are now afraid to go out. And the government relaxed. What happened was there was practically a revolution. I mean, there were people rioting in the streets. And after a while, the government realised that this was not going to go away. And so they've relaxed all the rules. But the problem is that the Chinese people are now afraid to go out. They've had 3 years of this. They've grown up with this. They have this in their minds. The idea in China now, that's drilled into their brains. And New Zealand is a place which has had a similar idea. They've turned themselves into a sealed island. Well, in China, they nearly had a revolution. The problem is that in New Zealand, you guys, you're just going along with the flow, aren't you? These things never change. I'm not calling for revolution, but what I am saying is that these things will only change when the people of New Zealand decide that the government is taking too much on. Right, well, yeah, that's as much as I feel I can say, and it's a bit of a risk anyway, but there you are. Yeah, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.